Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are popping into a series of the heroic division between Inting for Globes and Blue and the Beta Males. I'm Omster, and tonight I have the privilege of having Hoku in the co-caster chair.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
So, we've got the map bans so far. Tonight's bans from Inting for Globes are Brax's Holdout and Garden of Terror. So, we've got a small map and a medium map. And on the far side, for Blue and the Beta Males, they have banned Battlefield of Eternity and Dragonshire. So both of our two lane maps are gone tonight, as well as D-Shire and Garden of Terror. Anything in those jump out to you so far?
Um, those are kind of the maps where unconventional things can work really well. So it implies to me that we're going to see some fairly meta team comps. Um, usually for Axis, you can see the weird things like a 2-3 split or a Genki roamer like a Genji. Dragonshire Ditto, you can have a Bright Wing or a Falstad to come up and disrespect the 1v1. Um, Garden of Terror, anything goes. There's no boss. It's just a whole bunch of camps all over the place. You can have Samaros and Murkies and Vikings and Lord knows what else running around on those kind of maps. So, and then BOE is fairly straightforward, but again, it's not. Um, there are a few things you could do, like a hammer cheese and stuff like that. So, it sounds to me like we're going to see some fairly straightforward things, probably stuff like a Tomb of the Spider Queen, Towers of Doom, Infernal Shrines, kind of the normal people maps.
Yeah, we often see Alterac and Volskaya banned. They haven't been banned, but I wonder if that's just sort of a gentleman's agreement or gentle person agreement not to jump onto those ultra maps.
Yeah, in Heroic League, you generally don't see um, those kinds of maps, especially Volskaya. Volskaya just tends to be a very, I don't want to call it static map, but it's a map where you don't, where it's very scripted, I guess is the best way to put it. Um, you do the turret, you ignore the objective. You do the turret again, you ignore the objective. You push, 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 you ignore the objective. Finally, around level 10, people are like, okay, fine, we'll do the stupid objective, which is kind of useless. And then they may fight for it, and then they do camps and push. So it's really not a map where a it's one of those maps that goes on forever and a lucky team fight wins. So the strategy, I guess, is what I'm saying, is not there the way you see in other things.
So,
Um,
the Blue and the Beta Males have chosen map pick, and now I don't believe they're the home team. No, so the home team took first pick, and so Blues have taken map pick, and they have chosen Volskaya Foundry as the
I was going
first
to say
map.
I'm about to eat my words because they did take the map I did not think they would go to, but well,
So
we'll see how they play it out.
yeah, we've seen in higher levels that sometimes the first protector doesn't even get grabbed until post 10. It's just not as big a priority until there's some sort of map control going on, until there's some sort of, uh, unless there's either a stalemate or a solid kind of control of a section, we often see people aren't in a big hurry to grab the protector at higher levels because it just isn't that strong in the early game. Thank you so much for the follow, Kavkivar. So it looks like our teams have readied up, and we are going to pop into the draft.
All right. So, one thing you like to see on this map is point control. One reason why you don't normally fight over it is it's one of those all or nothing objectives. So you can channel the first 90% and still lose the objective. So it's a lot of risk for not that great a reward. So I expect to see point control types of heroes. Junkrat is especially good on a map like this. Oh, you wanted to stand there? Cool.
Do you think
Um,
a strong Kerrigan has a place on a map like this, or do you think she's really just for killing minions on Infernal Shrines?
I mean, Kerrigan is best when she can hide and scare people. So, like, Tomb of the Spider Queen is actually not a bad Kerrigan map because you won't see her coming until you're dead.
I just figured there's
This
not
map
much
is
place to get away from her combo on this map, which could give you kind of more CC in your damage.
it's a kind of wide open map, and you see her coming, so it's
Oh,
pretty
okay.
easy to stay out of her range.
So we should
Um,
probably discuss bans at this point. We do have the Stitches ban and the Joe ban, so they're choking the tanks on the side of Inting for Globes. And so far, Phoenix is a ban. I have to assume that they have not had a stroke from Blue and the Beta Males, but that someone on Inting for Globes is a top-notch Phoenix player.
One thing I will say is I have seen Blues and the beta males play offlane stitches, so that could even be an offlane ban.
So Diablo gets banned, but right now the very popular healer Ariel does get picked first. Now we often see her picked with Garrosh because he has his own cleanse at level 4, or style of cleanse, since Ariel doesn't have one. But her healing output, I would say, is probably unmatched at this point in the meta until some of her minor nerfs that are on the PTR come through.
She's very good at maps where you fight for a long time in a fairly constrained space, like Braxis or Volskaya. She never has mana problems, and as long as she has a good battery, she can just heal indefinitely. So that is definitely a strong pickup here.
So we see the second of basically, I would say, the trinity of best healers. Stukov up there with Anduin and Ariel. But Anduin picked up by Blue and the Bane Whales and a Nubrak for that hard engage and point control with the bed of barbs at 4 if they take it. And just lots of control in the cocoon, giving you an outnumber situation. Now Blaze and Greymane picked up for Inting for Globes. Two characters that are very good if you want a team fight or if you want a siege. They're actually strong at both. So this isn't much of a committal from our blue team yet, making banning against them a little bit tricky. We will see the Chromie go as probably the strongest all-around mage, especially on a singular point. But it's
So
hard to
now
know
we're
what
gonna.
direction we're going in.
So are we gonna see a Cho'Gall? They do have a beginning of a Cho'Gall comp there because Blaze can act both as a tank and an offlaner.
Leoric,
I
one of the
doubt we'll see it, but it'd
strongest
be fun.
offlaners outside of Dahaka right now, and of course can be a bit frustrating for Blaze, as Blaze basically has to use Jet Propulsion to get away from the Drain Hope. So Leo banned away to make Concept's life a little easier.
It also means you don't have to deal with a Tomb on the point.
Going to see Imperius and a Hanzo. So with the little sections of wall on these different points, Hanzo can get a lot of value from his W. And Imperius, of course, great follow-up CC to Anubrak. And his problem of once he goes in, he can't get out. Anduin does give some mitigation for that. So really strong CC combo from Blue and the Beta Males.
Well, they do have the Falstad, who is kind of underrated in the higher ranks. You see him a lot more in the lower divisions, but still a good all around. Can be played as a mage, can be played as AA. A lot of decent poke with his Q build, so we'll see which one he chooses to go this time.
Well, with Bunker and Gust, that's going to give them an opportunity to get the later game protectors, especially with Wind Tunnel. They just won't be able to get people onto the point if they just desperately need it. So they did take the Double Dwarf combo, and then we see Zagara for Strong Blue. So this is a bit of an interesting choice. It will weaken their overall team fight, but it strengthens their rotation and their lane pressure. So what we have here are two very different compositions, and we're just going to have to see who plays it better here in Game 1 as we launch into Game 1, Season 19 Heroic Division between Inting for Globes and Blue and the Beta Males.
Yeah, the Zagara is interesting. She can just ignore the objective altogether and just push like crazy. You might even see a 4-man Imperius um, with Zagara just kind of giving Blaze fits by throwing bugs at him all night.
It's just a rude thing to do to anybody, throw bugs at them all night. So, I will introduce our blue team. We'll hand it over to Hoku for the red team. In blue, strangely enough, not blue and their teams. We have Inting for Globes, Concept on Blaze, Juan Pablo 64 on Greymane, Fuzz on Muradin, Kav Kavar on Ariel, and Storm Brandon playing the Falstad.
Over on the right-hand side in the red trunks, we have blue and the beta males who are not blue, with DH McGiblets playing the Nubarak, Kalel on Anduin, Linehouse playing Imperious, Eternal Blue and Hanzo, and Zagara played by Hippo Triple X.
That's one sexy hippo. So, looking at our level 1 talents as the early trades happen here, we've got pretty standard here for Blaze and uh, Greymane. Had a brain stroke there. As we see some aggression here from both teams. We got the Dwarf Toss from the Muradin, so the ability to make Giblets gets very low there, down to 100 health, and Limehouse is taking a good chunk too. We do have the Q build, so the Gathering Storm Falstad. And then our opposite team, we have Beetle build, Power Word Shield, Burn the Impure. We do have W build Hanzo, Simple Geometry, and the E build for our Zagara. So quick, crisp rotations early on. Again, we're seeing a lot of damage going down onto the members of Blue and the Beta males. They are... This blue team, the Inting for Globes, are just putting pressure all over the map right off the bat. They want to be aggressive. They want to make life difficult. For these characters that don't have the greatest escapes in the world, like the Imperious, like the Zagara.
Yeah. It looks like they're just trying to be patient, get some stacks for the Hanzo going.
They want to invade the turret camp on the right side, but McGiblets has sniffed this out. So now we've got equal numbers here. Fuzz will jump out. They don't commit any further to this. No sense in losing some heroes on a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, they had already taken their turrets, so they were in a perfect position to invade there. One thing I do note is Oriel is still sticking with the Searing Light. They do a lot of fighting on the points, so it does sort of make sense there, but it did get nerfed recently.
So they do manage to go for this. With the early map control they got, they did manage to go for the Healing Beacon and take that very quickly. So that's going to sit on Falstad. They're going to put some early damage on McGiblets and force Anduin to use his pull already. So we just see they're just putting pressure all over the map on the red team at the moment, and they've come out extremely confident, Inting. Now, I do believe... If they haven't dominated every match, they are the highest in the Heroic Division. This is the best team in the Heroic Division on the side of Inting for Globes, at least according to the standings. Blue and the Beta males seemed to be sort of in the middle bot, but we'll see if they can pull the upset here. The reason we play the games is you never know what might happen.
Exactly. The Zagara is a little bit of an unexpected pick, so maybe they might have some unexpected Zerg tech they plan to spring on this.
We do see a big gank on Linehouse in the bot lane, but his team does come to help him out. He was going a little slow, just kind of bait that out, and the vision from the creep modules here, I forget what these suckers are called now, the creep tumors, is going to make life easier. For our red team.
So, as expected, they're kind of ignoring the objective at this moment, just focusing on getting that level 7, getting some lane pressure going.
And because the blue team has been so spread out, it's actually been hard for Eternity Blue to get the W stacks he's like. He's at only 11 stacks, but in the bot lane, Linehouse 1v1s Fuzz and takes him out. Payback for that attempted gank earlier. But he does have to back, which means he'll lose about a wave's worth of experience, or the 25% or whatever it loses when it shrinks down.
Yeah, he did take Burn the Impure at level 1, so he
Oh, the jump down on Falstad! He drops the beacon, but he goes down anyway. Sorry to interrupt you, Hoku.
Oh no, that's... kills are important.
So yeah, Falstad makes sure that the enemy team doesn't get that healing beacon, but he's not able to get out. A great layering of CC with the E, the charge in from the Burrow charge from Anubrak, followed by the Chastise from Anduin, and Falstad has a very small health pool. He goes down quickly there. So this is an outnumbered fight. Another layered CC on the Oriole. She goes down immediately. Juan Pablo, Greymane much weaker without a healer. He has to back away. Every bit of damage on him right now is going to stick. And that is going to give Blue and the Beta males control of this point. And early on, it looked like Inting for Globes was in control of this map, but a couple of good picks has given our red team an opportunity to do some damage. But they're going to return the favor. They're jumping on DH McGiblets, and he goes down also.
I will note that the red team has gotten the entire front wall down of the blue fort, so that sets them up if they get the protector to get a little pressure on. But the trick is, They have to get the protector first.
Blue is once again going for the healing beacon. These guys have long names, so I might just go by colors, because Inting for globes and blue are the beta males are mouthfuls, both of them. Uh, so our blue team does go for that healing beacon again. But again, the death timers are so short. Now 10 does come up first. Again, we're at 10 already, and the first protector has not come out. They are going to try and jump on Hippo, but he sidesteps the Stormbolt. There's the stun on Limehouse with the whip from Ariel. But we see 10s for both teams now. There's the angelic kidnapping. Here comes Gus to push the team back, but Concept is grabbed and he is in turret range. The Maw gets both Falstad and Greymane. No damage currently. A great Dragon Air sends him immediately on the Maw. Falstad's going to go down right now. Blaze goes down as well, and now it's a 2v5. Here comes Ariel out of the cocoon, but she's got no one to support her. Fuzz is almost dead. Eternally Blue looking for the kill. They're not able to, but the supportal combat as Anduin murders Ariel and sends her back to the heaven she came from. That is a 3-for-0 with some incredible wombo combo from the red team.
Yeah, those follow-ups to the Anubarak engages were right on point. Blaze never had time to drop his bunker, even though he had it. But Giblet gets
A tremendous amount of damage, and McGiblet's, or I should say, not McGiblet specifically, but Anubarak does not like strong auto attackers, and that's what Greymane is, so that really put pressure on him. Hippo now backing away from Fuzz, who does not have Haymaker, obviously, but can be very annoying to low hit points assassins. Oh my goodness, they're going to try and jump on Fuzz. He did use his E to jump on the Zagar, which makes him a lot more susceptible to ganks. Oh, the Light Bomb just misses, and he does pop Avatar. So that is a 90-second cooldown popped, which is a good resource. And during this time, they just gave over the Protector to the blue team.
Yep. So it looks like they're going to kind of do the old-fashioned just take down the middle fort. They're not going to go ahead and prep either of the other lanes. Sometimes in pro play, you'll see them take out the bottom fort to prepare for the third objective. But here they're just taking out the middle fort. Now they're heading bottom to prepare that lane.
And it seems like the attempt at the gank there, I don't know if they just felt like it wasn't important to get the Protector, but the gank there, or the gank attempt there on the Muradin kind of left them with a lot less map pressure after he was able to get out safely. Light Bomb will be up in 5, whereas we still have 30 seconds on the Avatar for Muradin. And it looks like most of these are the standard ultimates. We've got Bunker, Cursed Bullet, Avatar, Crystal Aegis, and Gust. They are going to try and jump on Eternally Blue here, but the good leap over by Hanzo. You can't gank a ninja, boys. And we got Cocoon, Light Bomb.
He also had the creep there, so he knew it was coming, which definitely helps.
Now they do
Vision.
invade and take the turret here.
Yeah, Vision is incredibly
Oh, they
important to
interrupt
any
the
map.
jump and Fuzz. He still gets it off, interestingly. But here comes the Dragon Arrow. They want him dead. He pops the Avatar. It was up just in time, but it's not enough to save his life, and the tank is down again. Well, let me see. I don't know if I can say again. Yeah, that's the second time he's died now.
Yes, he died once to Lighthouse in the bottom lane.
Right.
Blaze?
So looking at our damage numbers here, well, he has a team, but they're jumping on Linehouse and doing a lot of damage. Blaze is taking that, but they killed the offlaner there, and Greymane does an incredible amount of damage to buildings, and will probably be able to take this top fort. But in return, the red team is going to try and take the mid fort. They've got 4 members there, and they drop turret on it. Blaze goes for the jet propulsion, but gets CC'd by Kalel's Anduin. Excellent work there. McGillets goes for the jump, but the bunker comes down perfectly. They do not get that mid fort, but it looks like the Zagar minions will get it. Linehouse will be up in 4 seconds.
Between Anubarak and Zagara, they just have so many things that can assist with sieging buildings. There's so much creep there to get in the way of stuff. That is a big help. So slight map advantage for the blue team. Big map advantage if you consider the fact the next objective is in the top lane, and the red team will not have a fort there to retreat to.
It's interesting because red team has a big kills advantage, 7-2, but it hasn't paid off. Now they grab the Greymane, but in fact it is instead the Imperious that dies. They get so much damage onto that character. Now out comes the healing beacon. McGiblets takes about half his health and damage. The Maw comes out, only gets Ariel, but this is a disengage ultimate as opposed to the beginning of a Wombo. So that is a 1-for-0 as Imperious attempts to start a fight, but instead finds himself on the receiving edge. Blaze is alone in the bot lane.
Yeah, they
And it looks like
used two of
Concept's
their
gonna be there.
heroics already, though. They used both Ma and Cocoon. Cocoon was on, I believe it was the Blaze. So they do have to play a little passive and wait for those to come back online.
Yeah, and now they're gonna. Blue team's getting. They have macro of the blue team. Whenever something goes their way, they go in for it. Now here comes the Dragon Arrow, and then the Celestial Charge does get false stat, but they weren't close enough for a strong follow up. And so again, we see an ultimate used, but they're not able to get full value out of it.
And
It
meanwhile,
feels like Red
Blaze
Team
is
has a.
just taking bottom.
Yeah, it feels like Red Team has really good ideas, and the execution is just a little bit off at the moment. Whereas Blue Team, every time they see an opportunity for a macro advantage, they go so hard. The gate is already down for the top keep. When they killed Blaze at the top and they just took the keep there, they seem to know what they can get, and if they get a kill or a gank during it, that's just a bonus. They have such a strong macro sense in this game. Even being down 4 kills, they're getting what they want.
Well, a lot of those kills were early, too. And remember, early kills don't have the same value that post-10 kills do, so...
It looks like they're going for the Imperious again. Now, we are at 16, so Anduin will have 2 pulls here. And it is a 5v4. As Falls is still at the bottom, but he can fly up at any time, and he does have Gust available to him. In fact, all ults with the Dragon Arrow are up, and it will be up momentarily. It is back. So both teams are actually going to take a breath. Neither team wants to use a bunch of resources prior to deciding what they want to get from those resources, it looks like. So, Imperious can see this gank in the top lane. Oh, he tries to go for the angelic kidnapping, but it doesn't work. He gets stunned, but the Dragon Arrow comes out right in time to stun both of his assailants, saving his life. So...
yeah, unfortunately, though, that does mean you have a 1-minute cooldown now before you can safely engage from a distance.
The 4v4 here, while in the bot lane, Zagara and Falstad are trading, but Hippo is taking a lot of damage. He's down to 200 health. McGiblets is just pushing back Blaze so he can't protect this siege camp in the top lane as they take that down.
It looks like she had to use her Maw as well, because that's now on cooldown.
Murden is coming in and does kill the Zagara, and the longer the game goes, the more Murden basically becomes a squishy killer. He can dive turrets, he has stuns with Skullcracker plus the Storm, so if you weave your autos and your Q together properly, you can just perma-stun a squishy and they can't even get damage out on you. It's, for damage dealers, I think having a Murden come in on you out of nowhere, is one of the most frustrating tanks to deal with because he can just 1v1 you and not even necessarily sweat doing it.
Yep. He did also take the Dwarf launch, so he does not only have the longer distance, but he does get CDR if he lands on a hero.
Does he slow them when he lands them as well? No, not with this one.
No, he did not take that one.
Okay. But Blue and the Beta Males are really taking control again of the overall sense of this game. They're a full level ahead and will hit 20s first. And as you said earlier, Hoku, with this top lane the way it is, a Protector coming right down this lane will give them the ability to go for core. But they are backing off the point because Falstad is bought and taking the turret down there to give them yet another advantage. But this is when Red Team is going to want to fight before the 20 advantage does come out for their opponents. Inting for Globes, fully aware of that and just not putting themselves in a place to get ganked. Oh, if I had mods, I would ban the people advertising stream bots, but we'll get them in the in-between. Dragon Arrow does come out on the Ariel, and they will abduct her. The Cocoon comes out on the Grey Man. They're going to try and kill the healer right away. The Gust saves her life, and she has those huge healing numbers. The Aegis manages them to turn this fight around. A lot of damage on Juan Pablo, but Imperius goes down, and so does the Anduin. McGiblets tries to get Falstad with his CC, but now all they've got left is the Sagara and the... Oh my goodness, it's a 5-for-0 as Juan Pablo's Greymane goes bananas.
Once the SCC was down, then he could just do whatever he liked. It was definitely that Gust, though, that saved that play. The Oriole was probably dead, especially with Greymane in the Cocoon, but the Gust just gave them just enough time to get the Greymane out, to get the Oriole stabilized. And
Anduin went down so fast he never even used Light Bomb. It is still off of cooldown. Amazingly. So they're just going to beat the tar out of this core. And game one goes to Inting for Globes as this went from a fairly close match to an absolute domination in the second half of this game. Game one to Inting for Globes. GG. So we'll come into this game summary here. And again, kills very even, but really the only team fight that seemed to go the way of Blue and the Beta Males was that early fight on point, and after that, things mostly went the way that Inting for Globes wanted it to, Hoku.
Yeah, the Gray Maid never died. Definitely was kind of the hero of that game. Top hero damage, top siege damage, which is kind of what you want out of a Gray Maid, with 0 deaths. You really can't ask for much more. We do see that Falstad with his mobility and global ability actually earned more XP than the Zagara. I think the Imperius had the hardest time of it though. He did everything he could, but he was just a little fragile when it came to having everyone jump in. The Murden with all those stuns just makes it very hard for Imperius to do much. So I think he struggled a little bit there.
Yeah, you said it. So we will wait and see whether Blue and the Beta Males wants first pick or map pick coming up here. Um, and yeah, we'll wait to hear from our teams on how that will go. Welcome, welcome, Calamansi.
Yeah, looking at the talents, I don't see anything too unusual there, although I do see Juggernaut plating on the Blaze, which is not something you normally see at 16. Uh, although, the Hanzo W build and the Zagara does do a ton of damage, so having that spell armor and then a shield will definitely help protect the Blaze. So I think that was a good pick. It's just not one that you see terribly often.
Yeah, I think again with the concept of what they wanted to do with the Anub into like that very first, they had a lot of abilities to separate teammates with the Cocoon, with the Maw, and in that very first fight they did it perfectly. But it seems like it only took one time of losing to that for Inting for Globes to understand they had to take fights a different way, and it almost seems like they waited for the engage so that they could counter it with the Aegis, with the Gust, and then win the fight on their own terms. So that last fight went exactly the way their team wanted it, and it was so split it did not help Blue and the Beta Males at all.
All right. So it looks like we are picking another map here.
It looks like our next map will be Tomb of the Spider Queen, a small, fast rotation map.
All right. Looks like it was picked by Blue and the Beta Male.
It
So
was picked
make
by Blue in the Mist. They
that
also
note.
got this map, so first pick will go to our other team.
So Tomb of the Spider Queen, that's kind of one of the maps that I expected to see tonight, unlike the Volskaya. This map is really fun to both play and cast. This is one of my favorite maps, just because kind of everything works here, with possibly the exception of like an Abathur. um, but you can go for a push comp, you can go for a team fight comp. Vision control is great. Point control isn't as important, but can still help because there's the boss throw pit.
A spicy
Vision
pick
is
for this
huge.
map I've seen do well is Medivh, because his portal can basically go from lane to lane, which can make fast rotations instant rotations. But I don't know if
Plus,
we have a Medivh player on either team.
plus, with all the corridors and kind of the four man always facing each other, it's easier for him to stack up his baseline quest. So
Is
I
Arcane
have seen
Rift.
it. And this is a Kerrigan map.
Yeah, so we'll see what the teams go for the bans here. I wonder if we see the Phoenix ban again. But of course, first pick and first ban will go to Inting for Globes on the blue side. They merely made a statement in game one. They're very strong at the macro decision making. Whoever their, I would say, whoever their shot caller is very
I
decisive, very quick.
I also expect to see a Oriole ban, just because this map is even better for her with all those walls everywhere you ever want to fight.
Yeah, that the Ariel throughput and the Aegis really prevented the combos that McGiblets wanted to get on her for sure.
Yep.
So Johanna the first ban, still a very strong tank, and perhaps one of McGiblet's better ones, as it's been banned both games. We see a
So
Maev ban here.
interesting. Okay.
Now
I
Maev
can
can be
see
strong
it.
here again. The ability to change to move from one lane to another to gank easily, especially with her E, and then pull people in a longer lane. So a short distance between lanes and long lanes overall does give Maev a fair amount of strength here. Plus she can hit people when they go to turn in. So there must be a strong Maev player on the side of Inting for Globes, although I don't have the insider information to tell you who that might be.
I do hate facing it in my F. So we see a Stitches ban. Fair enough. This is a very good Stitches ban.
Yeah,
Lots of places for him to hide and
and
hook out of nowhere.
they banned both these tanks last time too, so it would seem like there are certain tanks that they just don't want to see McGiblets play. McGiblets. Okay. Now, I would guess that with how strong the Greymane performance was, Juan Pablo is probably the Maev as well, but that is speculation.
Okay.
And the Greymane
Oh,
is banned. They don't
Greymane.
ban the Ariel. They do not want these strong upfront characters with the long lanes and the short gankers. But the Ariel is insta-picked. Cav Kavar showing well in it last game, looking to play it again.
I can't say that I blame them. That was a very strong Oriole play. She did have problem early game, but once they figured out how to avoid that combo, um, she seemed to have no problem at all.
So taking their
And like
times
I
to...
said, she actually still has decent wave clear, not as good as it was before her nerf for a healer. So that takes a little pressure off the other team. And Dahaka Rhaegar.
Interesting choice here. Now, this gives them a healer who's also good at camp and wave clear, and Dahaka can be quite strong on this map. His global isn't as impactful, but his ability to use race car in the bushes with as many steam vents as there are on this map does make him quite powerful. But the Diablo Hogger instapicks. Hogger's still an extremely strong offlaner, can kind of do everything, especially if you're good at him. He can camp clear, he can wave clear, he can stun, he can gank. And both of his ultimates really throwing opponents for a loop. And Diablo, small maps with lots of walls is Diablo's happy place.
Exactly. So we might. So one of the things that does not put Diablo in his happy place is something like a garage. I'm not sure if we get. Yep, there we go.
The
So they
instant
banned
garage
that.
band. And of course,
Uh,
the Chromie band just makes sense again. And here's the Choco! Ariel was
let's
picked, and they
go.
go, you know what? If we're not, I don't want to say if we're not going to win, but if we're going to have to face a tough comp to play, we're going to have a darn bit of fun doing it.
Yep. I was going to say that the Dahaka is good because it does give you the extra CC with the lick. Of course, you can't lick a null, but this will be interesting. Let's see what they do with this. Oh
Hammer
my
and
goodness.
Tychus. We are seeing a
Oh,
spicy draft here from both
that's
sides. Now, I
going to
do
be
wonder
fun.
the healer they'll take for Cho'Gall. You'd want some decent throughput considering there's a Tychus, but the Anduin pull can be really helpful as well.
They have a Rhaegar already,
Well, I do have the
so
Rhaegar,
we're
sorry.
looking at another DPS at this point, something ranged. I can't even begin to guess what we're going to see with this.
I almost wonder if
Monzo
they
could
would
be
go double
good.
healer here, but yeah, something like, oh, Nazebo.
Interesting. Okay. So this is very much a late game comp. Um, if Hammer can get buildings down early, Blue and the Beta Males is going to struggle because they need 16, they need stacks, they need late game before most of these heroes come online. Hammer just wants to kick back and throw things at buildings.
You kind of wonder if we're going
Uh,
to see things of the deep Nazebo here to try and get damage on the Ariel and the Hammer. But we'll see what happens in Game 2, because it is starting right now between Inting for Globes and Blue and the Beta Males. And you kind of wonder, I mean, that Game 1 was a very tough game, and sometimes if a team feels overmatched, not saying that Blue and the Beta Males do, but sometimes when they do, they'll draft more for fun than because they think, oh, this is the best possible comp from this man. I don't want to suggest that's what they're doing, but we do see it happen from time to time.
to be fair, Cho'Gall, this is probably one of his best maps. It's a small map, so you can rotate quickly to clear. You know, you're not punished for having slower clear like you are on some other maps. Um, you can just have people push bottom, let Nazebo and Dahaka take care of the lanes, just have Cho'Gall push bot. And the vision from his Eye of Kilrog can be very helpful, so you don't accidentally rotate into places you don't want to be. So,
We
oh
see the
dear.
early grab on... Oh, that's on Dahaka. He's at 40 health and killed before we even got the intros in place. He was trying to look for an early tongue, but got found out and murderized. So we're going to do
So
these
here we go.
intros very quickly because these teams are continuing to fight us. Rayar gets caught, whipped, and killed! And this is already very much going in the favor of Inting for Globe. So before the game ends, let's introduce them.
Right.
Hogger played by Concept, Fuzz on Diablo, Juan Pablo 64 on Tychus, Storm Brandon on Sergeant Hammer, and Cav Kavar on Ariel.
The red team, we have Hippo Triple X playing the Nazebo, Kalel playing the Rhaegar, Linehouse on the Dahaka, and unfortunately dying, we have DH McGiblets and Eternal Blue playing the Cho and Gull, respectively.
So Hippo Triple X there actually putting up the wall, which put Cho'Gall in a washing machine, and he went circles down in that fight. So he's been taking lessons from that I don't remember who it was now, but whoever Rocket called out for killing their teammates, Hippo's been taking lessons from them. Sorry?
That was Weenus.
Right, yes. Weenus. Hippo is taking your example and improving on it. He can kill 2 teammates with a wall. You only killed 1, so the competition is on. Let's see if we can get a 5-man team or a 4-man team wipe from a friendly Nazebo here. Linehouse taking a lot of damage here and hasn't had a chance to absorb much of a minion wave to use his passive. As the 4-man is now here on the bottom, Nazebo is actually the one collecting experience in the mid lane and pushing out this camp. And this pressure is relentless from the members of Inting for Globes.
Well, you have to remember they do have a hammer who is not being threatened in the slightest at the moment. That will change if they can get to late game, but this is exactly what Inting for Globes needed to do, was to get early buildings down, get lane pressure going, because, until they get some levels there, Cho'Gall and Nazebo just aren't the scariest heroes just yet.
We've got 40 seconds and mission accomplished. Yeah, and again, these stuns. The Diablo stuns into the Ariel has 200 health left on Dumblu. And they're just going to get this keep, or this fort, sorry. There's nothing they can do. It's already been given up. They are giving up this fort at 2 minutes 40 seconds, while Kalel drops back to take this camp. And Fuzz is here too. If they want to invade, they can kill this Rhaegar and take the camp as well. But I think Fuzz is just keeping an eye on that. Blue coming in to, I think we'll just have to refer to him as Cho'Gall because Blue's hard to say, coming in to help out with this camp. Nazebo pushing out here. He's got 43 stacks, and he's gone Spider build, so he's got 46 there. But at the moment, complete map control in the hands of Inting for Globes. And now we do have a good tongue here on Diablo, but there's just no follow-up for it.
That was more of a sending a message tongue. Oh dear.
There's the flip, and there is the Tychus passive pop doing tons of damage to the Linehouse. The tongue comes out, just misses, and the blue team will clear out the siege camp in the mid lane. They're just traveling as a 4-man, as you should, and anyone wanting to see how good 4-man rotation happens, this is the game for it. They are so crisp, so clean, and the damage on Limehouse is so much he doesn't quite make it. His team's running around to grab his gems so they don't go to waste. Cho'Gall looking to come in here from the bottom flank, but now they're just going to look at getting the middle fort because they already got the bottom one, so why stay there? They are already 7, so now there's hover mode on this hammer, making her even harder to hit with CC. Cho'Gall does get bopped here.
Yep.
And I've heard from players who are stronger at this game than I, that it's better if you don't consider Cho a tank. If you consider Cho a melee assassin, and so you basically have both your assassins on one character, and so you need a main tank and an offlaner and a healer. And then just kind of focus on them being your double assassins with just a lower damage output. And in games like this, that feels like it's true. A tank with some hard CC that can also stay away from some of Diablo's CC, I think would be functioning better than McGiblet's trying to get his Gall close enough for damage, but they just can't do much. He's taking so much from the Tychus, and Dahaka has gone down. The Toads come in on the hammer, but she can get healed almost instantly. Here comes the flip on top of the whips. A couple whips have missed here from Cav Kavar. He needs to get his Wayfinder back calibrated. Last game he was
So
hitting whips left and right.
Dahaka can act as a tank on certain maps. And if he has, oh my goodness, there goes Cho'Gall. But you probably want more like a Blaze, someone who can be both an offliner and a tank. So,
Hippo
well,
manages to bait Fuzz into dying.
I don't think it'll change the outcome much, but it probably felt good.
It's hard to bring the hype on this map. It's been extremely one-sided thus far.
Yeah. And that's kind of life with a Cho'Gall. It's feast or famine. He's kind of like a two-man butcher in a sense that if you have a favorable comp, you can just have your way with anything. But if they have a favorable comp, you'll just never get that rhythm going there.
But it's also not to say that the game is by any means over. They just kind of, now they are a level and a half behind, but they just need to hit even 16 or so. There's an attack speed stare though. Here comes the Apocalypse, and there is the jump out by Cho'Gall. Manages to survive. Now a lot of damage is actually going on to Fuzz, but the rest of the members of Inting for Globes are perfectly healthy. There comes the jump. Now the heal from Rhaegar is there, and the cleanse. 100 health, 30 dead. And Cho'Gall goes down to Brandon's hammer damage. Hogger taking down the gate in the bot lane. The camp taking out the gate in the mid lane. And Brandon going for the fort in the top lane. Inting for Globes is the best team in this division for a reason, and they're proving it right now. They are draft very strong. Their players very strong. Their macro sense and where and when to pressure very strong. Now Juan Pablo is in trouble here. He does get a big heal, but it's not enough. And now the entire team here is going to charge down. They're willing to give up their bottom keep to the Hogger if they can kill. There's the hammer. Can they put the pressure on Fuzz? Kavkavar is still alive. Out comes the spray. They're going to try and kill this Diablo, make him lose his souls. He's down 600 health. And he's dead also. So they're going to try to get a turn in here. They have hit 10 now as well. So we do see the Upheaval, the Ravenous Spirit, Ancestral Isolation, and Twisting Nether, which will help.
We see a Resurrect, which is interesting.
That is interesting, considering how well the last time went. Oh, the Shockwave comes out, but it misses. And Concept gets pinged by his teammates. How could you miss that, buddy? But Kalel taking a lot of damage from Fuzz here after he was resurrected, but now Hippo's going to help, and Giblets has paused the game.
Let's see.
Is somebody... Now, Dahaka's digging, I can't tell.
So it's a DC from Discord. So the game is still there, but they lost comps with each other. So if you want to switch to a map, so we're not looking at the mini-map there. Switch to a neutral screen.
Oh, right, I've turned off the chat on it, so...
Okay.
So yes, that I don't get to see what's happening, but the viewers don't get to see what the people are saying either. So
Right.
My co-caster can help me with this.
Yep.
But we will switch to the best of 3 map screen.
Yep.
Again.
Oh, they're starting up again. We just had a ready and a countdown. So
here we go. So we're gonna switch back into our in-game view. And again, this game, as crazy as it sounds, this game is not over. And it's not over until the robust lady ululates. Fuzz is taking a lot of damage here. Now, Kalel is down. Juan Pablo doing all sorts of damage, and that's 2 for 1 so far. 3 for 1 with Kalel down as well. The Ravenous Spirit comes out, but can't do enough damage to prevent this. Limehouse has to pop his trait, which does get him back up to full health, and there are 53 gems between the two of them. They do not want to give these up, but Juan Pablo and Concept looking to steal. Now, Limehouse checks with the tongue. They see here, but it's a 4 versus 2, and there's no sense in trying to go in and get themselves killed here. Now, it's so early. It is so early that the death timers are extremely short still.
Yep.
Here comes the Odin, because they needed more help with...
Oh, that was a very good sidestep on the part of
It was. They still get the Twisting Nether up, but here comes the big CC. Ancestral does keep Cho'Gall healthy, but they don't even need their tank. Their damage is enough of a control measure that they don't need Fuzz here. yet. Concept using the shockwave. It's a big stun on the Cho'Gath. Kalel gets quite low. Fuzz tries to slam him into a wall, but he just manages to slide along his own keep there. It looks like they're looking more for kills than trying to go for the buildings here. Oh, that whip just doesn't kill Cho'Gath. Fuzz very low now, down to 400 health, and he does go down. Nazebo's damage starting to climb down. His souls are gone. And for a moment, it looked like the res animation was there, but Kvar not resing because Diablo back in 5 seconds as his souls reset to 25. Now, Hippo has done a very good job on this Nazebo. He already has 153 stacks, so if they can get this game to 20, he'll be incredibly powerful. If they can get the game to 16, Cho'Gath will be incredibly powerful. And again, we can tell these fights are going less and less. Like, they're still being won by Inting for Globes, but less and less dominant by that team. Here comes the Ravenous Spear doing a lot of damage to the back line here. Brandon's going to get pulled in and twisting the other, but so much damage from the Tychus, and Cho'Gath goes down. So does the Hammer. It's a 2 for 2 so far. Concept taking... Oh, but they get caught in there now. Kavkavar is rezzing Sergeant Hammer. She's going to come back at full health. The spiders and the toads coming out from Hippo, as again, they proved earlier, if Diablo's dead, they can still see, just not a problem. Odin's still up. And chunking out this last keep as waves are now pushing in every lane towards the core. But, I mean, some people would say that that means lots of pressure. Others would say your experience is coming to you. Hippo taking a lot of damage. Oh, and slammed into the core just before that Ancestral could take place. Here comes the Apocalypse. The good Z there from Gaul to pull Cho'Gath out of the way. Juan Pablo taking a lot of damage, but Kavkavar still able to do a lot of healing. Juan Pablo continues to pour out the damage as it's Kavkavar heal. A good Molten block there from Cho. Concept is looking to see if he can help more minions move their way towards the base. They're chasing for kills up here, but that means their core is undefended. Juan Pablo takes a lot of damage. He will go down, and they do spray. I mean, you got to take the moral victories sometimes. Moral victories. But Dahaka is killed in turn by Sergeant Hammer.
Yeah, Dahaka was trying to get a cheeky turn in while everyone else was obsessed with the core here. And unfortunately, that did not work out because Hammer was there.
Takes a lot of damage from the Cho'Gath. Again, when they trade fairly equally in kills, again, the advantage goes to the team with less experience.
Yep.
And so this game is at 16, and again, I think if Inting for Globes decide to get really, really serious, they could still win this on one big push. But the power level of our team in red is getting more and more. They are scaling. Although, to be fair,
they have the Leaden Orb now, and that is very difficult for the Diablo for sure, for the Hogger slightly less, but it can also give Tychus a hard time because he does not have that long a range, so he will often be in
the upheaval comes out on Brandon, but he lives. He managed to get the Twisting Nether to come out, but it's not going to hit anyone. There is a tongue, and Hogger is dead. A full minute death timer now on Hogger, unless Ariel moves over there. But they're going to protect this. They're not going to let this resurrection give Hogger a free way back. He's going to have to come back through the Hall of Storms, or not at all. The push there from Brandon with the W, and they do get the turn in. So Web Weavers are now going to start pushing back against these empowered waves from Inting for Globes. So still 25 seconds on the Hogger.
Isolation come out in that push. Unfortunately, it didn't gain them much, but we did see that come out. They're just going to go ahead and try to get the lanes cleaned up as best they can.
Well, it looks like they're going more for breathing room here. They want to hit that 20 eventually and get their big power spike, their Violent Infection. So Ancestral does come out on Cho'Gath, Twisting Nether. He tries for the three-man pull, but they all managed to get out of the way of the upheaval there. Big stuns there on both Kavkavar and Brandon. Here comes Limehouse from the side looking for a big tongue, but an excellent whip whips him to a wall, and he does not manage the engage he was looking for.
That was the Angel of Hope's Dope Rope of Nope.
I have not heard that one, and that is excellent. The Angel of Hope's Dope Rope of Nope. That has to stay in the caster lexicon. So Hippo
All right.
safely farming his way up. He's already at 240 stacks. He did take
Well,
no, he didn't take the ritual gives more, so he just took when minions die, he gets sustain.
right.
So he's not going to have the insane health bar if he had taken the other level. So 20s are coming in now. We have the Lord of Terror, the Odin big red button. We have Hog Wild. Fuzz is being caught out here, but his team is rotating quickly to his aid. And there's the Lord of Terror popped from Fuzz. Here comes the Unstoppable. The Hog Wild from Concept. They're going to stun Nazebo. He's in trouble. He uses the Ice Block, but it doesn't matter. He takes so much damage. Now Kalel's taking a lot of damage. Hogger's low. He has to E out, but there's the charge on a Rhaegar, and he's left low as well. And again, the Hammer 20, I was going to mention earlier, is incredibly, incredibly strong. Being
Yeah.
able to increase attack speed on that character that fast from hitting enemy heroes from that range is pretty busted. And so it does look like finally they are going to end this game. As they make one final push, they are going to try to kill Cho'Gall first. They won't let him into the Hall of Storms, and he goes down. Brandon almost dies, but again, the throughput of Ariel is something else. And with everyone dead, Game 2 will also go to Inting for Globes as they win this series 2-0.
Yeah, it's a shame that we didn't get to see the level 20 power spike from the gazebo, but you can't always get what you want.
So we'll do a quick look here at the game summary and the talents here. If you're so curious,
Yep.
pause the video in the VOD or post game. I'm actually going to switch to the best of 3 maps that I'm not showing my chat logs when I ask them if they would like to do an interview. Because I saw in one of my earlier recordings that that's exactly what I did.
There
So,
you go.
the best of 3 series does go to Inting for Globes. We'll ask them if they would like to do an interview. GG's to them. If you do
So
want to do a bit of
interesting.
a recap on the summary, please go ahead, Hoku.
Yeah, I'm looking at the talents right now. We did see the wolf build coming out of the Rhaegar. Not something you see quite that often. It can be good for rotations and all. But normally you do see the totem build or the shield build. You still see a lot of lower ELOs, so that was interesting. The Cho'Gall was pretty much exactly as you'd expect it. The gazebo is pretty much exactly as you'd expect it. The oil res was something different. I think that was being saved just about exclusively for the hammer, which makes sense because the hammer is the vast majority of your damage. Speaking of damage, look at the damage stats. Hammer and Gall were almost exactly tied for hero damage. Where things fell apart, though, is Sergeant Hammer had almost double the damage of anybody else, siege damage of anybody else, which is, again, why you pick a hammer. Um, I do think that was a good draft call on the side of Inting for Globes.
Yeah, I think that's I think they did a good job with it. Again, I think we were seeing that the game was starting closer and closer and closer to even, and that might have been why we saw that last final huge push from Inting for Globes. I think they wanted to have some fun, but they didn't want to uh, suddenly lose the game to a 20 power spike. So we're gonna pop into an NGS channel here to chit chat with a member from Inting for Globes.
All right.
So we're waiting for. I think he said they might send. Who did they say they might send? No, I don't have a big brain. Possibly funds. Okay. Hope he doesn't mean money. I hope he means the player.
Pretty sure it would be.
But yeah, it was a fun match. I did like how much fun both teams seemed to have with those final drafts. I think that was pretty neat. But it's hard to
Yeah,
have notes from game 2 because it was basically a slaughter from minute 1.
well, yeah. I mean that map. Um, yeah, I think they got so much value out of the hammer. That's pretty much all that needs to be said there. Um, and you can see why they banned the Gray Main if they were planning to go for the Cho'Gall. But I do think in both maps, the Oriole was very, very strong. Um, I think they got a lot of good use out of that hero. Even though she did miss a few whips in game two, um, the whips that she did get were fantastic. And I think just that amount of sustained healing that she can do at the moment is just it's if she didn't have that CD on her W, she would be absolutely just beyond broken. I think that's the only thing keeping her from being just completely out of control is the fact that there is um, a cooldown on her W.
Concept wasn't able to get anyone. It seems like they finished that game quickly because they all had places to go. Nobody is able to join us. So let's see. McGiblet said that they were having fun. They thought they had more fun. Let's see if anybody from their team would like to join us for an interview. I mean, if they say no, I would completely understand. But
Alrighty.
heck, why not? Do we have McGiblets kicking around here also from our eternally blue team? Uh, do, 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 do. Spelling is hard.
It does look like they've called her a night.
Send a quick message out, see if anybody answers. But otherwise, I do think this was a lot of fun. Um, and
Oh, it's always
sometimes
yeah,
you just
it's
have.
always fun to see. Go
Sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say it's sometimes it's fun to see that people just have fun. Like if you think it's gonna be a huge challenge, if you think it's gonna be really uphill, you might as well have fun, and maybe you surprise them with a goofy draft, with a weird draft, with a tech they're not expecting. And maybe tonight that wasn't
Yeah.
the case, but it was still fun. We don't get to see Cho's all often at this level played. And that was a ton of damage done, even considering how frequently Tychus would just blow that team away. And it looks like we do have Eternally Blue here to join us. So usually we hear from the winning team, but today we get to hear from the team that got O2'd. Blue, uh, and Gibbs are here too. Gibbs, you were saying in chat that it seems like your team was able to have more fun. What made this series fun for you guys?
The part where we knew we were gonna get two outs, so we just said screw it and just did anything we wanted to do.
It does seem like Inting for Globes is top of the leaderboard in Heroic Division right now. Do you think anyone really has a chance against them, or are they just that strong?
The only team that has a chance is potential Scrum Thursday if they are not trolling,
Okay.
Yeah.
which they have
They will
taken a
be 1
map.
and 2 no matter what, honestly.
Yeah, it's that, and then Rodney's Imaginary Friends will be third, maybe second, depending. They've been doing decent this season. But yeah, those are the top three teams. Those are the unbeatable teams for most teams in this division.
So you guys had a
Now, have you
really great team fight. Sorry, I'll give you the question after this one, Hoku. You had a really great team fight wombo combo in game one with the cocoon, the maw hit two people, and you managed to kind of blow up a couple folks. And it seems like Inting just wouldn't give you that same team fight again. Were you expecting the wombo to go that well, or did everything just kind of fall into your lap for that one?
I think it fell in our lap.
Yeah.
I don't think we were looking to
anything
engage
to
in
go
general.
particularly well.
Yeah. I think he just hit a two-man maul and we're like, okay, we're going in.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Dragon Arrow after that was perfect too, so well done on that one, Eternally Blue.
Yeah, I play a lot of Hanzo, and it's a very comfort pick for me right now. Which when you're going up against the caliber of player that you are, it's like do anything you can to either make the game easy or go in with very little expectations, and that's we kind of did both, honestly, in that game.
Did you have any questions for these guys, Hoku?
I did have one question. Was the Zagara in game one something you had planned to do from the get go, or was that just sort of a reaction to the, oh my gosh, we need to have some kind of push?
I think it was we had several cooks ready to go and we're like, which one do we want to have more fun with? And we scrapped the main one and we're just like, he wanted to play Rainer and I'm like, I want to kill them
Yeah.
at least. I'm like 16, we actually have a chance with Zagara and we'll actually shred.
This is true. Yep.
He wanted
So
Rainer, and you know what? Rainer probably would have been bad, but I still like the Cigar pick. I think we just
Okay.
entered the last team fight, but I still don't think we would have won the whole thing. There's still better players than all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
But
was
but
a
it
bit
was
of
that was a game where we kind of took it seriously. The second game we definitely did not.
No,
Have
that
you
was.
played Cho'Gall as a team before, or was that just
Not
sort of
really.
a why
Yeah,
the heck
I mean,
not?
Because it's very hard to go into a scrim and say we're gonna choke all these people. So you have to save it for the last game, and it still has to look good. Because if you choke all early in the scrum, they might just rage quit the scrum. It's like, and I'm not gonna do it in Storm League because then you're 5 seconds Storm League, and we don't do that really.
I have to imagine doing that at Masters level means you just don't see games, or it's all just a GM lineup against you.
It's Smurfs. You gotta if you 5 stack, you gotta play on Smurfs.
Oh, so now I know who to blame when our Divi teams get stomped by Smurfs. I see how it is, Gibbs.
Oh,
Listen,
I've gone up against
I don't know what you're talking
Storm
about.
League.
I'm a very impatient person, and if I'm gonna play Storm League at night, I'm not gonna play my main ever, because I don't
Yeah.
want to wait.
I try to play only like plat lobbies though,
The
so at least you
only
get
other-
games.
Only other question I had is I noticed they banned stitches both games. Were you
Yeah, they're
actually
dicks.
thinking about pulling out the
Yes.
offlane stitches again?
Yeah,
or...
I 100% had, and
Yeah.
then they banned Joanna, and I'm just like, can you stop banning my offlane pool? I play it late. I think they were just target banning me because out of everyone on the team, most of those players know who I am, and they know my tank. Well, they banned Joanna, so they obviously don't know what tanks I like to play because I hate her. But the stitches is oppressive. I've been told, and
I have
it's very
offlane
cheesy.
against your offlane stitches, and it is very rage-inducing. I can say firsthand.
The only thing I thought of for Volskaya whenever we chose the map was we're definitely gonna play offlane stitches, and then he insta banned it. And I'm like, I don't know what we're doing anymore, guys.
Yeah, I was ready to just FF right there.
Blue came up with a different idea, and there was an Imperius in that idea, so we went with that.
You know, whatever works.
Well, the drafts were fun to analyze as far as that goes, and the games were. Game 1 was fun to watch. Game 2, it kind of seemed like it was just going to be a little bit of a, maybe we had to get the Benny Hill music out for that one, the Yakety sax. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for being such a good sport about it all. And good luck whoever you play next week. I mean, it's hard when you've got to prepare to play the best team, but is your challenge next week going to look any easier than this one?
I think every other
That would be
team
competitive.
will
Yeah.
be easier than this one.
There was very little preparing for this, aside from getting the lube ready. But next week will be better, more competitive for sure.
Is there a team that you're playing that you haven't played yet that you're really looking forward to playing?
No, we scrum them a lot, and he's been on it. One of their players has been on a team with a few of us a few times. So
Or
kind of know their
Zebra,
style. Yeah, Zebra.
Yeah.
Well, before we call the cast to a close, would you guys like to do any shout outs to anybody?
That's funny. We'll get the normal ones out of the way. Shout out to the team, obviously, and who the hell did we even play tonight? What was their name?
Inting for Globes.
Inting for Globes. Shout out to Inting for Globes for being good sports about our sprays and terrible drafts, and they're homies ultimately. I love casting them. That's a really fun team to cast normally because they just kind of, do that to teams. But yeah, so shout out to you guys for casting as well. Always appreciate it. Gibbs, you got any?
First and foremost, I think that we should standardize getting loser interviews going because those are good, right? Listening to the loser team, see how they feel.
Yeah, for sure.
Screw that team that won. Like, okay, they don't need the interview. Okay, they already did their job.
They already got everything. The endorphins are flowing.
Yeah, just ask the losers how they feel, how if it went as expected. Like make loser interviews the main
Great
thing.
again.
Yeah, why should casters?
How was I gonna go that far?
Well, why should casters drink champagne with the winners when they can drink the tears of the losers? Am I right?
Yeah,
Dude,
and last but not least, shout out to EasyK for giving us this amazing team name.
That's right. He was the one that labeled us the beta males, and therefore he gets credit in this.
Yep.
That's awesome.
We turn insults into memes.
Blue, I haven't seen your stream before, but you sound like you have an excellent voice for casting. Every time I hear myself, I'm like, good lord, I sound like the nerdiest of nerds, but here we are.
Yeah, I haven't had too many opportunities to do it. Tokibi is kind of cornering the market on cast these days, but no, I
Well, it might
will.
be a,
I'll get back to it.
It's
might be
harder
a
whenever
gift
we're
to
down
you.
40 teams.
Yeah, that's an issue that needs to be addressed one of these days. But anyway, it was an awful lot of fun casting.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks for the
Thank you
cast. Have a
guys
good
for
night, guys.
casting.
Yeah,
Thanks
have a
for
great
the
night.
interview. Bye, guys.
All right.
Well, guys, that was unfortunately Inting for Globe's unavailable, so Blue and the Beta Males coming in to give us that ultra fun side, their perspective of this matchup. It seems like Inting for Globes are the team to beat in Heroic Division. So with that 2-0, it's about time to sign off. Please remember that the VODs are available on Twitch for 7 days and at YouTube Omster if you would like to watch it further than that. If you're a team that's going to be playing against Inting to Globes, I'm not sure how much analysis we were able to give you, but hey, you know, you can always watch it with me on mute, but definitely turn on the parts where Hoku talks. And thank you so much to Hoku for co-casting with me tonight.
All right. Have a good night, all.
Everybody have a great night and go enjoy yourself some hots. Catch you later.